Ronald Reagan is well known for his love of jelly beans. But why did he start eating jelly beans in the first place? I'm Bob Summers, and this is a presidential story. When running for governor of California in 1966, former actor Ronald Reagan wanted to stop pipe smoking. Like many others who have wanted to stop smoking, he substituted smoking with something else. In his case, it was jelly beans that did the trick. Reagan no longer smoked pipes, but his affinity for jelly beans is now legendary. The exact origin of the jelly bean has been lost to time, but most experts believe the soft center is a descendant of a Mideastern confection known as Turkish Delight that dates back to pre-biblical times. The harder outer shell coating is derived from a process called panning that was first invented in 17th century France to make Jordan almonds for the royal court. The French confectioners would rock almonds in a pan filled with sugar and syrup till the almonds were coated with a candy shell. The earliest known appearance of an actual jelly bean is in an 1861 advertisement from Boston candy maker William Schraft that promoted sending jelly beans to Union Army soldiers during the Civil War. But why beans? Candy makers have always made candy into novelty shapes, especially shapes of things people know. At first, it was vegetable shapes like carrots and turnips. Then they would make seasonal shapes like bunnies for Easter or mice, which was a holiday favorite of the children in 19th century England. When someone in 1800s America started making bean-shaped soft jelly, the name jelly beans stuck. And by the 1930s, they became a popular treat around Easter, probably because they looked like eggs when sitting in a basket of straw. Jelly beans, up until Reagan's run for governor in 1966, had the flavor limited to the outer shell. The soft inside of the jelly bean was flavorless, chewy sugar. After Reagan won his election for governor, his jelly bean supplier, the Herman Goelitz Candy Company of Oakland, California, would send a monthly shipment of 24 pounds of jelly beans, over 10,000 beans, to the governor's office in Sacramento. At the same time, Goelitz was developing a new jelly bean. These beans were smaller, but had flavor both inside and out. Once Reagan tried them, he was a big fan. His standing order gradually switched to only containing the Goelitz mini jelly beans. Soon, those beans would be renamed to Jelly Bellies. In a letter to the Goelitz Company, Reagan wrote that they have become such a tradition in this administration that it has gotten to the point where we can hardly start a meeting or make a decision without passing around a jar of jelly beans. Goelitz didn't publicize their connection to Reagan. They quietly supplied the governor with beans throughout his 2 terms in Sacramento. When Reagan was running for president in 1980, a journalist from Time magazine snapped a photo of Reagan eating jelly beans in his hotel room during a campaign stop. The Jelly Belly logo was clearly visible in the picture. The phone at Goelitz headquarters started ringing off the hook. People wanted to know more about the company's relationship with Reagan. The small, family-owned company was overwhelmed with orders. Soon, they were 77 weeks behind in production. They opened another factory in Chicago to keep up with demand. The company's profits doubled. Reagan won the presidential election of 1980, and Goelitz received a call from Reagan's inaugural committee. Could they supply jelly beans for the inauguration? Of course they agreed. Then, the inaugural planners said they wanted them to be patriotic. You know, red, white, and blue. Red was easy. They had their wild cherry flavor. White was no problem. Coconut flavor. But blue, well, they had no blue flavor, so they got to work making one. Blueberry. They ended up sending 3.5 tons of jelly beans to the inauguration. And today, over 40 years later, blueberry is one of Jelly Belly's most popular flavors. As president, Reagan had a standing order for 720 pounds of jelly beans per month, or over 300,000 beans, that would be distributed among the White House, Capitol Hill, and other Washington federal buildings. As Reagan once said, once you get on jelly beans, you never outgrow them. In February 1981, Goelitz received official government authorization to develop a Jelly Belly jelly bean jar with a presidential seal on it. These presidential jars of Jelly Bellies, each in its own blue gift box, were given by Reagan to heads of state, diplomats, and many other White House guests. The White House even had a special jar made for Air Force One, designed to withstand turbulence while in flight. Throughout his presidency, Reagan continued to serve his beloved jelly beans at cabinet meetings, social events, and even important meetings with dignitaries from around the world. Even British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher met Reagan over a jar of American jelly beans. President Reagan joked, "You can tell a lot about a fella's character by whether he picks out all of one color or just grabs a handful." If Reagan was going to pick out one flavor, it would be his favorite, black licorice. And even if one grabs a handful, the Herman Goelitz Candy Company, renamed the Jelly Belly Candy Company in 2001, recommends that the beans should be eaten one at a time to savor the delicate flavors. Today, Jelly Belly produces 15 billion beans a year, and if you tour their manufacturing facility, you will see many references to their most famous and influential customers. Among the memorabilia, there are portraits of Nancy and Ronald Reagan, made entirely out of jelly beans, of course. Thanks for watching.